What is going on, everybody? Sports Expert here, and we are here with our college football top 25 post week 7. We had some crazy results, crazy upsets, and there was definitely some movement in these rankings. There weren't, any shocking teams moving up into the top 25, but we had some interesting movement for sure. So before we get to the video, please hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We're going to be doing more college football videos. We're going to be doing our predictions for week 8. We're going to be doing takeaways from this week, week 7. And I have some interesting ones for every single game that was played by an FBS team. I didn't do Army, though, because that's whatever. They played Colgate, but hit the notification bell for those. Hit the like button. Comment what you think about these rankings, what you would change. Liking and commenting really helps us in the algorithm, so I would really appreciate that, guys. That would help my channel out, and it would help the community, so I'd appreciate that. So let's get started. At 25, I have the Mississippi State Bulldogs. They are coming off a 27-17 loss versus Kentucky on the road. That was my number one concern with Mississippi State and Will Rogers. Can they win on the road? The answer is no. They have lost by double digits on both competitive road games they played. They've played Arizona on the road. They beat them, but that's just Arizona. They've now played LSU and Kentucky on the road. They've lost by double digits both times. I just don't know, man. I mean, that's the issue with Will Rogers. Can he play in, in atmospheres, road atmospheres? He hasn't proven that, and that's just a concern for this Mississippi State team. And Mike Leach has to take some of that blame for that. At 24, I have the Cincinnati Bearcats. They are coming off a bye, but only have the one loss so far. Ben Bryant doing a solid job. And obviously Luke Fickell as always. At 23, I have the Kansas State Wildcats. They are coming off a bye week as well, as they moved down a few spots just due to some movement. At 22, I have the Tulane Green Wave. They stay where they were at from last week. Really nice 45-31 win at South Florida. South Florida actually has a solid offense. It wasn't the greatest defensive showing from Tulane compared to weeks prior, but still got the job done. The offense showed up when they needed it to the most. At 21, I have the Purdue Boilermakers. They are coming off a 43-37 win at home against Nebraska. You may say, hey, why did they play so close against Nebraska in a high-scoring game? It's not really surprising given the rivalries in the Big Ten, and Purdue, I mean, they're a good team. They're not great, so it's not surprising. I mean, Purdue would probably play competitive against Northwestern knowing them, but they're still top 25 here. At 20, I have the Kentucky Wildcats. They move up 6 spots from 26 to 20. I had them in my 26 and my 131. We're going to be doing a video on that too. So we got 20 Kentucky there. Will Levis, I mean, he comes back. They win. Shocker. People are trying to trash me for saying Kentucky ain't top 25. I mean, this team's great with Will Levis, got to admit. At 19, I have the UNC Tar Heels. One of my favorite players in college football, Drake May, did it again with his magic. He's playing he's playing for a UNC team that has a really, really poor defense. So he's doing everything he can for this UNC team, and he's getting the job done. I like what the UNC offense is doing, and maybe they can keep it up. At 18, I have the Texas Longhorns. They are coming off a 24-21 win versus Iowa State. Not a pretty game for Texas, but they were able to get it done. Quinn Ewers played fine, but the rest of the team was just eh. And honestly, they probably should have lost that game. Iowa State had some really bad miscues at the end there, so yeah. At 17, I have the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. They are coming off a bye week. Sam Hartman will be ready to, finish out the season, and Wake Forest still in the top 25 for sure. At 16, I have the Penn State Nittany Lions. They are coming off a blowout loss versus Michigan, 41-17 on the road. Can't really say I'm surprised. As a Big Ten fan, I wanted Penn State to look good. I wanted them to be a contender, but I knew they weren't, and they showed that Saturday that they were exposed. It's really just Ohio State, Michigan, and who even cares in the Big Ten at this point. So, yeah, James Franklin, the issue with him, he just hasn't been able to win the big game. I mean, I doubt they move on from him due to his recent recruiting success, especially with Drew Allar, but I just don't see. I don't know, man. He just hasn't been able to win big games ever. I believe he was hired in 2014 as well, so that's concerning. At 15, I have the Illinois Fighting Illini. They are coming off a nice 26-13 win at home against Minnesota. They were big underdogs in this one, 7-point underdogs. Not really sure why. Even with Tommy DeVito, the line really didn't change. So, I don't know. Illinois has a top defense in the country. They held Tanner Morgan to 4 for 12, 26 yards and a pick. I mean, that's pretty nasty. The only reason why Minnesota didn't get blown out is because of Mohamed Ibrahim again. Ibrahim, whatever you want to say. I mean, he literally carries. Like, if there's one player that carries his team in college football, it's him, Mohamed Ibrahim. Minnesota is probably not even in bowl contention without him, especially with Chris Ottman-Bell being injured. But great win for Illinois. Chase Brown has a legitimate Heisman case. At 14, I have the Utah Utes. They are coming off a big 43-42 win at home against the undefeated USC Trojans. Kyle Whittingham gets the job done with his squad. Dalton Kincaid had the game of his life. 16 receptions, 234 yards, and a touchdown. So, I mean, dude's a beast. I love Kincaid coming into the season. I knew he was a top tight end in the country, and he's honestly tight end 3 for me at this point in the NFL draft, behind Michael Mayer and Darnell Washington. At 13, I have the Syracuse Orange. They are coming off a nice 24-9 win at home against Devin Leary-less NC State. NC State, it's going to be a tough end of the year for them. Devin Leary out for the year. Just really unfortunate news for them, but Syracuse was able to get the job done. Sean Tucker played fine, and I mentioned Sean Tucker first because I wonder what he's going to say on Twitter. Will he be pleased with his performance, or will he not be pleased? I'm going to lean towards he will be pleased, but barely. So, the Syracuse team's having a lot of fun, there's no doubt. At 12, I have the Oregon Ducks. They are coming off a bye week, so another team coming off a bye, they'll be fresh coming out of the gate. At 11, I have the Oklahoma State Cowboys. They are coming off a 37 to, I can't remember the exact score, 44-40 loss in overtime at TCU. Still a very good football team in Oklahoma State, but the TCU Horned Frogs get it done. And, man, Oklahoma State looked like the favorite to win the Big 12. Might be TCU, but, Spencer Sanders, he played okay. Missed a few throws there, but he made a couple clutch throws. You can't really blame him. I just don't think Oklahoma State's defense is any... Like I said, Derek Mason, really bad coach. One of the worst coaches in all of world sports. Not professional sports in America. World sports. Like, you could combine all the sports teams in the world and all the coaches in the world. Probably millions of coaches. He's one of the worst. He's probably bottom 10. Let's be real. Derek Mason. At 10, I have the USC Trojans. They are coming off that loss versus Utah. They got up to a 2-touchdown lead. Caleb Williams, threw for a few touchdowns, had a good game. Mario Williams had a solid game on the receiving end. So USC just falls short. Defense still is a work in progress there for Lincoln Riley's squad. At 9, I have the UCLA Bruins. Have them as my number 1 team in the Pac-12 now. They do fall a couple spots, though, but coming off a bye. At 8, I have the Alabama Crimson Tide coming off a massive loss versus Tennessee on the road, 52-49. Bryce Young, just got to say he played a great game despite the shoulder injury. He got absolutely killed, though, so he's probably going to be sore today, obviously. But, Jahmyr Gibbs played a solid game. Latu did as well. Got to give credit to some of these Bama guys. But at the same time, just tough loss. The secondary wasn't able to get anything going. Brian Branch, projected first-round pick by many, had a disastrous game. That stock's going down. I don't expect Brian Branch to be selected in the first round by the draft, but, because I never saw him as a first-round talent, but, yeah. At 7, I have the Ole Miss Rebels coming off that 48-34 win versus Auburn. Ole Miss never covers. That's the one thing about Ole Miss, they will never cover the spread. It was actually 14.5. They did win by 14, so it was close. But at the same time, Lane Kiffin's teams just don't cover the spread. I don't know what it is. I mean, Tank Bigsby absolutely ran. He tore apart and ran all over that defense. That's an issue right there. But the offense, will keep responding. Jenkins, Evans, Dart all ran well. Mingo, you got guys, out there just doing their thing. Good. I mean, the offense is still going to produce no matter what. At 6, I have the TCU Horned Frogs. They make a big leap as they are coming off that big win at home against Oklahoma State, and Max Duggan is him. He is him. Is he a Heisman contender? For sure. He lost the job to Chandler Morris, and I was absolutely stunned when that happened. Man, I don't know. But Sonny Dykes is doing a great job. I don't know if you know this. I hated Absolutely hated the Sonny Dykes hire. Hated it. I thought he was a good coach at SMU. Don't get me wrong. But I hated the fit. Despised the fit. I thought it was terrible. But I am more than happy to be proven wrong. And the TCU Horned Frogs, Texas Christian University, has absolutely done that to me. No doubt about it. At 5, I have the Clemson Tigers coming off a 34-28 win on the road at FSU. Game was not that close. Way, way worse than the scoring suggested for Florida State. Clemson dominated that game. Florida State, started off strong, but, Clemson was able to dominate after going down a touchdown a couple times. I believe it was 7-0 and 14-7, so Clemson dominated there. The defense looked great. The defensive line for Clemson is nasty. DJ looks more improved. He's a guy that could easily go up in my draft rankings. So, yeah. But Clemson, they're looking like a contender right now. The only reason why I don't have them at 4 is because Michigan's at home blew out Penn State. You got to give credit to the Wolverines. Blake Corum has a Heisman case. Love Blake Corum. There were people saying, oh, Michigan's offense is screwed. Y'all lost Hassan Haskins. Well, I always thought Blake Corum was better than Hassan Haskins. Well, Hassan Haskins is a great pure runner. So is Blake Corum. And he probably can do more than Haskins, especially in the passing game, too. Man. Him and Donovan Edwards make a great duo. Mike Hart was back out there coaching the running backs, which was great to see. This Michigan team is definitely special right now. And if we could get 11-0 Michigan versus 11-0 Ohio State, I will take that immediately. At 3, I have the Tennessee Volunteers coming off that big 52-49 win over Bama. The Tennessee man is celebrating. He is absolutely celebrating right now. And General Voltard, what a win for the Tennessee man. I mean, they are back right now. Hendon Hooker might be the Heisman favorite now. Gosh, I'm an Ohio State fan, and Hendon Hooker should win the Heisman. I know Ohio State's been insanely unlucky when it comes to Heisman results the past few years, and there's a good chance that definitely continues here, but give it to Hendon Hooker. Come on. Hi-ho, hi-ho, it's off to lose we go, as Uncle Lou, quote Uncle Lou, week 2 of the 2021 season when Hendon Hooker came into the game versus Pitt, and now he's a Heisman favorite, so Hendon Hooker, man. How about Jalen Hyatt, though? 5 touchdowns, 6 catches, 207 yards, stepping up as wide receiver 1 without Cedric Tillman, who's been out for a few weeks now. He should be back in a couple weeks versus Kentucky. That should be an interesting one. I believe that game is at Tennessee, so Tennessee should be able to win that one, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully Tennessee racks up a few more wins here, and we'll see them potentially competing for the playoff. They have to go to Georgia. If they lose that game, I don't think that'll be too big of a deal, just due to the fact that Georgia is elite. At 2, I have the Georgia Bulldogs coming off a 55-0 win on the road versus Vanderbilt. Can't deny it. Stetson Bennett played an incredible game. Georgia was able to get everything going, exactly what they wanted. Another shutout for the Georgia Bulldogs. That's 17 since 2016. That is absolute. Actually, not 17. That is 10 since 2016. That is phenomenal. That's Kirby Smart, man. That's Kirby Smart era for you. They're going to play a good defense. The Nick Saban coaching tree. And at 1, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Speaking of the Nick Saban coaching tree, started out undefeated versus his former assistants. That was last year. He went 0-2 against a couple. Jimbo and Kirby, steps in the right direction for the Georgia Bulldogs. But at 1, I have the Ohio State Buckeyes coming off a bye. Still feel like they're the best team in the country, with that offense. C.J. Stroud, you got Emeka Egbuka, Marvin Harrison III, or Junior, whatever it is. Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. You have Mian Williams, who's, established himself as one of the better runners in college football. TreVeyon Henderson. You don't even have Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't think there's been a game where you've actually fully had all 5 on the field together. That is something. And obviously you're not going to have TreVeyon Williams and Mian Williams on the field, Henderson and Mian Williams on the field at the same time, but it seems like guys have just been out, so have all those guys on offense, that's lethal, especially with a great offensive line. So, and C.J. Stroud, probably the best pure passer in college football, with that improved defense with Jim Knowles, that team's probably the number one team in the country still. So I appreciate everyone being here. Sports Expert here. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Turn on the post notification bell. Like the video. Comment what you think. I'm out, guys. Sports Expert here. Peace.